Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Bakes in a Box, the podcast where we talk about baking, business, and being functional adults, even when we don't want to.
This podcast gives you fly-on-the-wall access to conversations that two busy entrepreneurs would have on a regular basis. A little bit of whinging, a little bit of whining, and also some helpful tidbits to use on your baking journey.
Find out how two best friends ended up running businesses just down the street from each other. From baking and making the things that we love to how to navigate the cutthroat wedding industry, we cover it all.
It's time for another episode of Bakes in a Box. Let's get into it.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are on.
We are live on air.
Oh, live on air. That's what our little sign says.
Pre-recorded. Live on air.
Pre-recorded, live on air. That's the same thing in my head and my books. It's the exact same thing.
Exactly.
We're making small improvements to our space, folks.
Slowly
right now,
but surely.
We have a felt pad. Did you hear that?
Well, if you slam it down, Lenore got a gorgeous little felt pad here so we could have our apple juice and be able to pick it up and put it down without you having to hear those noises. Lovely. So refreshing. We love our juice.
We love juice. That makes us bad people.
As we both take a juice break.
I guess the rule is we can't both drink at the same time.
No, somebody has to be talking. Somebody has to be engaging with the audience.
We're going to be like looking at each other and being like, are you going to reach for your juice first? Or is it going to be me? Who's going to reach for their juice first? I truly love that for us. Jessica, this is the episode where people want to know about... We actually don't know.
We actually don't know if we want to know, but we're going to tell you anyway.
People want to know. No, they don't. No, they don't. The people are in their homes being like, leave us alone.
We didn't ask for this.
You're polluting the airwaves with your voices and your stories, and nobody wanted this. Actually, that's not true. We can firmly say one person wanted this.
One person wanted this, and we're like, sure, we're going to give it to you.
We actually said,
we're going to invest time.
No.
And money. And then after 8
episodes. We're like, this is a mistake. Shout out to our homegirl, Maggie Austin.
Yes.
Mags, you are our favorite.
You are our favorite. Absolute dream icon.
Yep. Complete opposite to us.
Yes. The most calm.
Small. Demure. Yes. In the actual sense of the word.
Yes.
Not the TikTok.
Not the
genuinely
TikTok. Yes.
Demure. So steady and quiet.
That's why I felt like we were so invasive coming into that class.
I was walking into the studio just like slam.
Where can I put my bag? Snacks?
Oh my gosh. If you have snacks, you have us forever.
Yes.
And the best lunches.
Lunches. Yes.
So satisfying.
Yes. So what we're talking about is Maggie Austin is an amazing, incredible,
award-winning
sugar flower artist, in which we attended her sugar flower seminar.
Ooh,
wow,
child, that
word did not want to come out of my mouth.
You were eating it. You were chewing on that word seminar.
I think I need some more apple juice.
Okay, I'll pick up.
You got this, right?
We went to a sugar flower intensive in Alexandria, Virginia, and I have been following Maggie Austin for years, maybe a decade, fangirling real hard, because every photo that she posted was interesting and unique and just truly works of art. Not something that I actually ever foresaw myself doing. I'm like, I could never, because I just could never, right? That's not my zhuzh. I would love to, but I could never, for me personally. And boy, oh boy, does Maggie not make you feel capable of doing literally anything. Featured in probably every wedding magazine, featured on Martha Stewart's weddings numerous times on television.
Did a whole flower display for the Obamas for their Christmas.
Crazy.
Amazing.
Incredible. She deserves everything that comes her way because she has worked so hard for it. Yeah, obsessed with Maggie. And so I think 2023, I was like, it's my year of yes.
I'm saying yes to myself and things that I want.
I was getting married and I'm like, I want to run my business the way I want to run my business. I just want to make cakes and I want to be exceptional at it. And so how do you do that? You take some additional training. You can't go to college for sugar flowers. You can't go to college for cake decorating only. So you have to find these other classes and courses and whatever to build your repertoire. And so I found this class, and it was an intensive sugar flower class. And I was like, yeah, let's do an intensive, because like that's a million things. And I'm like, I could go alone, or I could go with friend. And anytime I think I could do this alone, or I could go with friend, I call Jessica. I'm like, Jess, I can't remember how the conversation went, and I don't have my phone with me. But we're like, Jess, do you know who Maggie Austin is?
I was actually at a wedding show at the Walper.
Oh,
when you first brought it up to me.
When I assaulted you and stole a cupcake.
Yes.
Yum, cupcake, by the way. Thank you, lemon blueberry.
But you were like, do you know who Maggie Austin is? I was like, yes. And you were, she's doing a seminar. And I remember when you were telling me about it, it was going to be in August.
Yep.
Which, you know, summertime, I was like, I don't know if I can step away. It's wedding season. But we were talking back and forth. I'm like, I don't know. And you literally planned the whole trip to go by yourself, because I was like,
I was going regardless.
You're going regardless. And I think it was literally like the week before you had to go, and I was like, can I still come?
Yes.
Screw this. I am going. I am, you know, I did so much prep work, you know, so that the shop could run smoothly without me. And I piggybacked off your entire trip. You planned everything. I had nothing to do with it. I was like, tell me what flight I'm supposed to be on so I can book it.
Book this flight.
Yes.
And that's it. Airbnb sorted. and we were walking to the studio. So it's not like we needed
beautiful.
any cars or anything like that.
No.
You needed American dollars and your luggage.
Done.
And that was it. It was so great. So we went, and there was one other Canadian, Junko from Japan.
Oh, such a sweetheart.
Such a sweetheart. Very Maggie-esque. Quiet.
She was.
Small. Doesn't take up a lot of room. Do you know what I mean? Like, I walk into a room and I feel like I take up space. You know, whether it's warranted or not is another conversation, probably between me and my therapist. But I walk into a room and I feel like I take up space.
Yeah.
I don't know if these folks feel the same way, but they don't give that they take up space. They just like slide in.
Yeah. They're so quiet.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what are we doing next?
Yeah. Ooh, to be like that. Probably could never. I probably could never. We met Kate as well. Katie, a food stylist, who is super, super awesome. And then, folks from Ottawa. Was there another Canadian?
There was another Canadian. I can't remember where she was from, but yeah.
Are you thinking about long curly hair?
Yes. Oh my God.
That's the one Canadian I was talking about. Was there another one?
No.
And then there was the one person who had glasses from Florida, made hyper realistic cakes. Did like that lizard.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, if you're listening to this, which why would you be? But if you happen upon it, and you know your name, we're talking about you. You know your name. And so Jess and I, it's really funny. I don't consider myself to be an extrovert. Do you consider yourself to be an extrovert?
No,
okay.
I'm an introvert, but when I'm put into situations where I'm with other people, I can switch very quickly.
Turn it on, right?
To reflect other people's energies. Like if you weren't there and everyone's just sitting there quietly, I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're sitting here quietly. That's not the person I really want to be. I like to get to know people and things like that, but I need other people to encourage me to come out of that. You know, and
you need friend.
I need friend. I need Lenore. And, you know, I really feed off of other people's energy, you know, and, yeah. It was great. We were just nonstop talking, but I think Maggie appreciated that because I don't think she wanted silence. I don't think she wanted us all just to sit there in silence and
we were still working.
Yeah, we were still,
if you can't work and chat, then you can't chat.
Yeah.
But if you can work and chat away. That's my rule.
We were telling stories and we were making people laugh.
Yep.
And then that's when Maggie said,
you guys need to do a podcast.
And we were like, you're funny.
What?
What do you mean?
What? Ma'am, it's August 2023. We don't have the capacity for a podcast. Everybody and their mama already done one. But then, you know what? We thought about it and we realized we are funny.
We are funny.
Although Maggie's stipulation was that we did need to have a video aspect to our podcast because people needed to see our faces when we were speaking. And yeah, I hear that. For us at this moment, we just don't. I just thought I had a DSLR camera, which I do, which I thought I could just plug in to my Vocaster which I can't, and it makes me a little bit sad. And then also,
it'll be something that we'll focus on for season 2.
Yeah,
when we get in season 2, give us a little bit more time, see how you guys are vibing with the podcast.
Yeah.
And then it'll be, a little special for season 2.
Yeah. We'll save our faces. Actually, we'll save our faces for season 2 because guess what? We want our introduction to be on international television. How about that?
Yes, I love that.
How about that? You can see us under beautiful 4K video footage.
So many lights. It was so
many
hot.
lights.
So hot.
With makeup on, because what I'm not going to do is put makeup on for this podcast.
No, absolutely not.
It's not going to be. Anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Jess and I started this podcast because of Maggie. Thanks, Maggie.
Because of Maggie. Yeah. Love you.
Unless it turns out to be terrible. And then thanks, Maggie.
Thanks a lot.
Either way, gratitude goes to Maggie. Oh, man. Maggie and Jess and Dad, also incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible
If you
people.
have an opportunity, listen, here's the thing. Did you get those emails from Maggie?
Oh, yeah.
You've been reading them? The ones that says that they're not doing studio classes after May 2025.
I know. I'm
freaking
that.
out. I'm freaking out a little bit. I'm freaking out a little bit because our intention is to go back.
Just to go back and do it again.
But when are we going to do that? To be fair, Alexandria/DC in the summertime was a mistake.
It was so hot.
I was warned. Karen told me. Karen's like, oh, DC in the summer is going to be so hot. I'm like, yeah, but it can't be that oppressive. Boy, oh boy.
And I love the heat.
Sure.
But it was too much.
We had a 15-minute walk to and from the studio. And how many times did we go for ice cream?
We went for ice cream every single day. And we had also 2 large containers back in our room of ice cream, just trying to keep. I don't think we really talked that much either when we were walking, because I'm like, I need to focus the energy on the breath
breathing
and my energy on just walking right now. Like I cannot.
It was too much. It was too much. But it was also an incredible time. Loved every minute of it. So Maggie and Jess and Dad, we're coming back for you.
Yes, we are coming back.
Be excited, I think. Junko just went back. Did you see
yes,
that?
I did see. I saw
Instagram.
her work. She went back. Yeah. That's great for her.
I really want to do In Full Bloom. I think that's the only one that I'm desperate for. The Rose Clinic is done. I saw that.
The Rose Clinic, yeah. I saw that one.
Oh my gosh, Maggie also does private classes. What if
we could always just book something private?
Could you imagine? Be like, hi, just the 3 of us.
And she'll be like, oh, great. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted.
That'll be the energy. Be like, oh, this is everything I could have ever wanted.
I mean, she's so high in demand too, and she travels for classes too. So she's probably
wanting to explore new opportunities.
Yeah, new opportunities, and it's great for her. But follow her on Instagram for sure, Maggie Austin Cakes.
That's one. MAGGIE. Yeah. Austin Cakes. Mm-hmm. You can sound it out. Use your phonics. You can sound it out. Use your phonics. So today we're chatting about how do we become friends? Are we going all the way back to the beginning?
I think, let's go all the way back to the beginning.
I guess it's the only place to start, isn't it?
It is the only place to start.
Cool. In 2018.
Yes.
This girl, me, Lenore Johnson, arrived on a plane from New Zealand Friday morning, early Friday morning, 12 a.m. or something. Maybe after that because customs and whatnot. With all of my worldly possessions packed into 2 suitcases and a backpack. And it was the Friday before Thanksgiving. I think I said that. Mm-hmm. And I had received an offer from Conestoga College to teach in their baking and pasteurized program. My first semester, actually, I was teaching the last iteration of pastry for cooks because they only had a culinary program. The baking and pasteurized program was new. And so they need to finish out this last little bit of curriculum for those kids. And so I showed up and my first class was going to be that Tuesday night. So I had to get to the school, get my uniform, figure my way around, get my keys, get a photo taken for my one card, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of this. I set an alarm, I think. And it turns out I didn't set an alarm. I woke up at 11 o'clock. Everyone was who I needed to meet at the college was left or leaving. I speed down there real quick from my parents' house. This is my first time driving on the other side of the road in
forever.
Ages. Mm-hmm. I hadn't been home for a year and a half at that point. And completely jet lagged, out of my mind, took a photo, got my clothes, blah, 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 blah. And took a little tour around, and I think you were in a room upstairs.
I was in a room upstairs. That sounds so creepy.
Amity LaMarche,
She was
a
just
lab, a culinary lab upstairs, a pastry lab upstairs. Amity LaMarche was giving me a little tour. And he's like, this is Jessica. And I was like, hello. And he said, hello. Okay, students. And you went right back into doing what you're doing. And I was like, okay, cool.
Okay. Oh, that was it. I was like, I am in full teacher mode right now.
Yep, that was it. And all I thought was, she's so tall.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially because Amity, and if you're listening, he knows this, is not the tallest man in the world.
Tallest. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily classify him as short, but he's not the tallest man in the world. And he literally walked up next to you and I was like,
I was also wearing, so I was already working for the college just for a little bit at this point. I was teaching just the culinary students baking and pastry skills. So I had already been there just for a couple weeks. Not long. And I was, one of the requirements for teaching that class is you wear a very tall white hat. Yes. So on top of already being 6'3", I'm also wearing this very tall white hat. So it just makes me look even taller than I already am.
Casual 6'8". Casual 6'8".
A light 6'8".
And safety shoes, which means
so I got a heel.
Yeah,
I got a heel on them.
I loved that. So yeah, that was my very first interaction with Jess. And then open house came.
Yes, I think that's where we really bonded.
Yeah, well, standing in one spot dipping chocolates for 4 hours will cause anybody to bond, and we did not get paid for it.
No, the college was hosting this. They worded it to be like, oh, we have this great like open house. It would be amazing if you could be a part of it.
They just needed production staff.
They just needed somebody there to help schmooze the very rich people that were coming through the open house to check out the college. So we were there dipping chocolates and chatting away, and the rest was history. I was like, oh, I didn't even know this girl before, and now we're basically best friends. This is actually how I find all of my best friends. I work with them. Yeah.
Like I work with them, and then I realize, oh, we are more alike than we are different. We should be friends. And then we were. And it was me, and it was you, and our pal John.
Oh, Johnny
Bravo. We really need to go for dinner.
We do.
With good old Johnny.
We do.
But we were like the dynamic trio. We were.
So John worked in the
I used to call it ICC. But that was at George Brown. I don't know if it's the same thing. So
I would say the same thing. So just the stock kitchen, I guess.
Sorry, John.
Please comment or text us and let us know
tell us what your actual job title is. Yeah.
But just ensured that all the classes had all the produce and
prepped everything
for all the classes.
Class, ordering, organization, wrapping trolleys. God, what a blessing.
Making sure that everything is ready for the college. Those that have not been to culinary school or any kind of baking school or things like that. But basically, you come into class and all these trolleys are prepped with all the eggs, butter, ingredients that you need to be successful for that class. And that's all prepped by the people that work in the kitchen downstairs. Because you don't just keep a kitchen fully stocked with everything you could possibly need, because that would result in a lot of waste.
It would result in a lot of waste. So John's responsibility is to reduce waste, be prepared, and allow instructors to actually have an easier time of dealing with students, because everything that you could possibly need is just right there on that trolley for them. So anyway, John's great. We are grateful for John. He's a good friend. Great friend. And yeah, I can't remember what happened after that. I mean, like, we didn't ever teach together.
No.
We were occasionally at the same place, but for that first term, we just connected outside of the college in passing as well, and just like built a friendship that way. And then for my second term at the college, this would have been in winter 2019. Yeah, that makes sense. January, I got a reduced workload, which I was like, oh, I thought I had money. But at the same time, I was kind of like figuring it out, desperately homesick. Like a kind of homesickness that I can't explain, but like desperately homesick for New Zealand. Missed everything about it. And I was coming home to winter, going from,
so depressing.
You're supposed to be, I went from winter to winter actually, because it was kind of getting to spring, but not quite in October. It was like kind of getting warm, but the promise of summer was just like on the horizon. And then I'd come back to Canada Dark all the time. No ocean outside my front door. No ocean on the way to work. That was all really hard. And yeah, so I had to reduce workload, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I already decided that I wanted to start trying to find a permanent home for Lenjo Bakes, which was really exciting. And I'm like, boy, oh boy, I need somewhere else to work. And our former boss, who was also teaching at the college.
I'm so sorry for
Was that you or me?
That was my hungry throat being like, I'm sorry. I think talking about all the food and the butter and stuff like that, my throat was like,
I was worried about my tummy making noises. I never thought to think about your
I had a
throat.
full breakfast this morning. I'm so sorry for
I love it. No, it's great. It's great.
my throat gremlin being like,
more. Our former boss was like, hey, I have a business and we can always use another hand. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, what do you do? It was explained. It was like, wholesaling of cakes and whatever. And I'm like, I have literally never worked in that sphere before, ever. I've never done manufacturing, wholesaling, sort of shindig. The closest would have been Danielle, but we used whole ingredients, right? No mixes, no shortcuts, no standardization, no convenience products, none of that. So it was a little bit different. Right. It was a little bit different. And he was like, yeah, you can come and work for me. And I knew that you at the time were the manager. And I was like, yes. Heck yeah. Me and Jess working together 3 days a week. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. And our boss would have been incredibly accommodating because he knew that I was also teaching at Conestoga. So there would be some days where I come in for a half day or a few hours, go away, come back or not come back, depending on timing, blah, 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 blah. Totally chill about it. I so appreciate that, actually. I do really, really appreciate that. That was very kind. He didn't have to do that, but he did. Grateful. We can talk about everything else that happened some other time. We can talk about everything else that happened some other time. Yikes. I turn up on my first day of work, and I'm like, Jessica, guess who works here now? She's like, okay, but I literally just put in my 2 weeks.
I just quit.
Oh my gosh. I was flabbergasted.
I felt so bad.
I was flabbergasted. I was just like, the whole reason I'm working here is so that I can work with you, and you're
and I'm leaving.
Devastation.
Yeah.
Devastation.
And it was actually that former boss that helped me to get the position at Conestoga College to be a teacher, because he was also teaching at the college, and they were looking for another person to teach the basic skills class. So he had recommended me, and he had told me, he's like, yeah, like you can, work here and, go to the college, but I don't want you leaving this bakery because of the opportunities you're going to get at the college. And I was like, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can say that. But he was just, I think he knew what was
coming,
what was coming eventually. And that I wanted to do more. And what do I do?
Hi, I've been working at the college for exactly 5 months, and I quit.
But it wasn't, I don't think it was just, being at the college that I was like, I didn't quit and just keep only working at the college. I left for another opportunity, which was working at the Cake Box.
That's right.
Which has led me to where I am today. So, it's not that I left for but it was just, it really opened my eyes to be like, I can do way more. Like I'm really good at what I do. And I wanted to be able to, I felt the confidence to be able to apply to other places. And
you had applied to the Cake Box
I had
a while ago.
Yeah, I did. I applied to the Cake Box actually twice before. And both times, one of the times they said I was too overqualified. And then the first time I applied, they said, they had already filled the position. So by the time I applied for the third time, that's when they still were worried that I was a little too overqualified. Yeah. But they still gave me the opportunity, and good thing for that too.
Yeah. It worked out in the end.
It worked out in the end, exactly.
Yeah, so Jessica left me to dry.
You're never going to let that go.
I will literally never let this go. We had an opportunity to work together.
I know.
And we were in the kitchen together. And every time I was in the kitchen and you were also in the kitchen, mind you were a little bit, I wouldn't say stressed.
Oh, I was, yes.
Okay, so I can say stressed.
You can absolutely say stressed. There's a reason why I left there.
I didn't want to infer anything on your feelings.
I was not happy.
Right. Okay. So the feelings that I was getting were accurate and not directed toward me. Just like,
no.
I also saw what you were dealing with though. Can you do X? everything but X gets done.
Yeah.
And it's like, I heard it. Did y'all not hear it? But it's also not my job. I'm brand spanking new.
Yeah.
But I'm also crushing it. Tasks that would take other people half the day, I come in and do in an hour and a half loaf cakes. I was like, why y'all so slow at this? And they're like, oh, well, you have to heat it. I heat it up and now it's 9 million degrees. So I can't dip. I have to wait.
You don't let it cool
You
down.
don't have to wait. Get another container and just pour it back and forth until it's the temperature and consistency you want. Why are you wasting time? You're going to wait 40 minutes
Just
and then be like,
stand
oh
there
no,
and
it's
watch
too
it
cool. I have to put it in the microwave again. Oh no, it's 9 million degrees.
Insane.
Like, y'all don't have any sense? You don't have any kind of common sense?
No, there's no problem solving.
No.
There's no... There's just, I'll just stare at this until it cools down.
Well, I can't do anything because they're not done yet.
Yeah.
Hello? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that was the environment that Jessica was attempting to manage in. And you were doing an incredible job. But mostly it was you doing the things so that they got done.
Yes.
As opposed to you being like, hello, capable human being standing in front of me who is responsible for this job. Can you please do it? And they'd be like, memo. You're like, yeah, just get out of the way. Just let me do it.
It's less stressful and less work for me just to do it myself.
Yeah.
Because the anxiety that I'm feeling just watching you try to do this is like just giving me a migraine.
Yeah, very this. So Jess left. I stayed. Only for 6 more months though, because then I did find a home for Joe Biggs, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm peacing. Our former boss, in all respect to him, was totally chill with it. Everyone else were acting like giant assholes. I could not believe it. I will never forget homegirl with the glasses who made the macarons and put them in the refrigerator that had too much humidity and they were all soft the next day, but had spent all day working on them, even though she knows she shouldn't have put them in there unwrapped. Anyway, that person,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
was like, yeah, really disappointed that you're leaving. You were doing some pretty okay work for us.
Pretty okay work.
Literally, I'm like sitting there in the meeting with her and other John. And I was just like, all right, I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for whatever this is. But I'll peace. You can talk to our boss about it if you want to.
Yeah, if you have any more questions.
Yeah, he's totally fine with it.
Go.
You're not my boss.
Yeah.
You've actually never been my boss. I never ask you for anything. And if I ever have to do anything, I go to him. And if you're mad about that, that's too bad. But your employment arrangement was never between you and I. You did not hire me. I was given to you as a gift.
You're welcome.
Here is Lenore.
Yeah.
She's capable and can do whatever it is that you need her to do. Put her on anything. And you did, and you reaped the benefits from it because I was able to do whatever you asked me to a high degree of excellence. And you weren't getting that from anybody else. But you were paying me the same as everybody else. So.
That's another issue.
Right. I'm like, so I'm not the one, homegirl. I'm not the one. Well, you can't show up 2 minutes before you start, but I'm ready to go at the time it is to start.
I don't understand that.
I'm ready to go. Why do I have to be here 10 minutes early if I can get to work, get changed, wash my hands, clock in, put a hairnet on and my apron on and be in your meeting at 8 a.m.? What questions do you have? If I was late every day, if I missed the meeting, if you couldn't start the meeting because I was not present, that's another thing. But you could because I was. So I'm not the one that you need to talk to about being late. Ma'am, several seats. I literally thought I saw her in the shop on Saturday, and I was like,
oh no.
I don't want to have to be nice. I don't want to have to be nice to anybody who I'd rather just not see anymore.
Yeah,
you've done
but
some
also like
pretty okay
working
progress.
in a place that, creating an environment that can be, because I feel like I'm glad that we didn't meet. Not that we weren't getting. Oh, we have to cut that out. I'm glad that we didn't meet there because it was a very short period of time, and I was very stressed whenever I was there, and I feel like I wasn't being myself. So I'm glad that we didn't meet there.
Yeah.
But it can. Yeah.
I'm glad that we had the opportunity to be like. Doop, 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 doop,
Yeah.
for 2 weeks. It was good. It was fine.
It was a good 2 weeks.
It was a good 2 weeks. And by 2 weeks, we mean 5 shifts because I wasn't working full time. I was working full time. And then after that, what happened? I was still at the college. And you were also still at the college?
So I only worked at the college, and my last semester there was the summer of 2019.
Right. Did I work the summer?
No. Yeah. Yes. But you were working, I think, remotely.
No, we weren't doing remote yet. I must have been doing like a theory class.
Yes, you were doing a theory. I think that's why for some reason I thought it was remote. You were doing the theory classes through the summer.
Yeah.
But then, they decided not to bring me back in September.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Whole nother can of worms.
The downside to having your boss or manager get you a job somewhere or recommend you for a job is that they can unrecommend you for a job.
Yeah.
And if the person that they're dealing with is like short-sighted, not interested in doing any investigative work on their own to substantiate the claims that are being made against someone, you don't get asked to return. Essentially, it's a quiet firing. You don't get scheduled.
You just don't get scheduled.
Is what happens.
Yep.
And I think I asked on your behalf, like, what happened? Oh, well, I was told none of that is true.
And then you're like, none of that is true.
None of that is true. Oh, I didn't know.
Didn't even think to like ask or
have a conversation,
investigate it.
Oh my gosh!
Like if you had, you would have found out a whole lot of information.
Yeah. Regrettable actions, I think, happened. And then I continued working at the college all up until the pandemic. And then you were working at the cake box. I was building out Lenjo Bakes. But we still would like hang out sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember when we had time?
Yeah, that was an amazing
spend time
thing.
together. And we like, let's go to dinner on a Friday night. We're like, yeah, Friday night. Sounds perfect. We're not staying up until midnight making cake, decorating for weddings, putting together sweet tables. We're not doing any of that.
No.
We're just I'd be going home sitting down in front of the TV. And then what else happened? I mean, I feel like we were just, hanging out. One day you walked into the shop. You made me cry.
I did.
Because you walked into the shop and you said, I'm pregnant.
We need to talk about what happened though before that, because it was it September or August? We had gone to Rib Fest. It was
I love
Rib Fest or something, and we were all sitting on a blanket.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about like having kids or whatever, and you're like, I don't think you asked me if I was pregnant, but you were like,
I try not to ask people.
You try not to ask, but you said something along those lines. I'm like, no. And then not even like a couple months later, I was pregnant. So I came into this because I was pregnant December, before the pandemic. So right before everything shut down. Yeah. So
Jess walks in a winter jacket. I'm pregnant. I'm like, huh? What? Me in the shop crying. Customers looking at me. I'm like, oh my God. Wait. Oh my God. I just asked you.
Like you did this to me.
That actually happened with someone else. I had a dream.
You did. It was your friend. And that's how the conversation I think started.
Yeah. I had a dream and I was like, are you pregnant? And then it happened after that.
Yeah.
With the person that we were just talking about upstairs. I was like, I had a dream that you walked in, you were wearing like culotte palazzo pants and you had a baby bump. And they were like, what? Are you joking? I'm like, I'm not joking. I literally just woke up
she
from
can
this
see into
dream.
the future.
And I like messaged them immediately and then they sent me back a photo of a sonogram. I literally was about to pass away. I was about to die. Anyway, I'm not the pregnancy whisperer, but if I have an inkling that you might be pregnant and I like talk about it with you and I look at you funny, you better
Something's coming your way.
You better go home and take a test. That's all I'm saying. Unless you already know. And I was just like, ooh, grasping. So funny. Yeah, I don't know. After that, that was it.
Yeah.
That was how we became friends. And the funny thing is, this is actually really funny to me. We're like the kind of friends that are just like friends in real life. Like we text back and forth, something funny happens, blah, 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 blah. But we're like meeting up, hanging out in person, this, that, and the other. We're only ever hanging out in person. Like I met your family circumstantially, I think. They happened to be somewhere. I'm like, oh, hi, blah, 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 blah. You met my family, I think, a similar way. When you came to pick me up.
When I came to pick you up, I met your mom.
Yeah, you met my mom. And that was kind of it. Other than that, people would hear me talk about Jess. They would be like, yeah, Jess and Johnny and I, and Jess and John and I, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You have a friend named Jess and Johnny. That's awesome. And then, fast forward, you buy the cake box.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you and scared for you.
Yes, thank you.
Because
I was scared too.
I knew it was coming.
You knew the
but I was so
tornado that was coming for my life. Yes.
Yeah. Scared for you. But you were also like down the street and around the corner.
Yes. So close. So close. Yes.
And in our minds, we said, we're going to see you all the time.
Yeah.
So stupid.
The realities of it. But I really appreciate our friendship because I never feel any pressure, you know, to be like, oh, I really need to make sure like I'm connecting with her all the time and, you know, all that kind of stuff, because we both know what it's like and we can sympathize with our like each other's lives and what we have to go through. And, you know, being able to share in each other's trauma as well is really nice, because there are some people that I talk about and they're like, well, just don't let that bother you. Or just like, I don't see why that would happen, you know? And it's just like, well,
okay.
I mean,
sure.
It does.
Yeah, no, sure. I would just won't let it bother me that someone, you know, yelled at me or left a 1-star review on something that was outside of my control, or, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, because I'll say like, oh, somebody left a 1-star review. Yeah, but look how many 5-star reviews you have.
Sure. People will filter by lowest though.
Yeah. They always go like, what's the lowest? Because they want to know what's the worst case scenario if they deal with us, and they want to see that first. Which,
like, completely valid.
Yes. Oh,
completely
for sure.
valid.
I do it too. I'm guilty of that as well.
I absolutely do it as well. And like, yeah, you could look at all the 5 stars and whatever. But if fear is activated in that low rating review, like, oh, they didn't show up on time, and your greatest fear is that somebody won't show up on time, oh my gosh, you're not going to book. That's just the way it's going to be. You're just not going to book. So yeah, you know, little things, they really get under your craw. Is that a saying? Do people know that?
Yeah. I've never heard it, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Wait, how do I know the word craw? I watch a lot of sailing shows. And by sailing shows, I mean below deck. And Captain Lee is infamous for saying all sorts of things that are insane, but maybe I picked that one up from him. The
things that we watch to wind down is absolutely insane.
Watching other people struggle in their industries.
Yes, watching other people struggle in their industries, crime, people being murdered, you know, and
this placates me.
Fishing shows. I don't know. Like I
like wild tuna.
Yes. Or there's one that I was watching for quite a while, which was the ice truck.
Oh one. Yeah, James watches that.
Anything to give me some more anxiety. There's
Slip
not
sliding.
pink related.
Like, wow. Everybody else's life is also hard.
Yeah.
It's not just me.
I also love like a Love Island situation. Anything that has a lot of drama like that, I'm here for that as well.
Yep.
But,
Love is Blind in other languages.
Love is Blind.
In
other languages, yes.
The Mexican one.
So
Brazil. I love that one. My favorite, Love is Blind. Japan.
I haven't watched that one yet.
Oh, Jessica.
But they're like the sweetest. Like, aren't they like, if we hold hands?
Literally so respectful. So beautiful. Like, I just loved everything about it.
Oh, I'll definitely watch that one next.
Yeah, it just felt really meaningful, you know?
I love that.
I don't even think that they have an English overdub. I think you have to watch with subtitles.
That's fine. I watch everything already with subtitles.
I know, but like sometimes you watch with subtitles and it's like for your benefit. But like some things you actually have to like sit down and read.
I can't multitask.
That's right,
I can't do something
right.
else. Like I have to stay focused on that. Yeah, I get that.
That's right. So this is like a, at home sort of situation as opposed to like at the shop watching Netflix, which is what you and I both do. You and I both do. In so many of my instruction videos, there's like a little iPad app with Netflix
and it's not because we're not fully invested in what we're working in. We are very invested, but when you do the same thing kind of over and over again, and you have to be able to stay awake, having things on like that can kind of keep your brain, you know.
Yeah. I've been listening to podcasts recently.
A lot of podcasts and audiobooks
are helpful because then I also don't get distracted, because if something is pretty good, it will draw me in.
Yes. For sure.
It will draw me in. I can't do audiobooks though. I like to read the words.
Yeah.
But I guess it would feel like a podcast. It depends.
I really switched to audiobooks because now if I sit down to read a book, I fall asleep. Yeah. So the only way I can get through, because I love reading. I have so many books at home that are just collecting dust because I just don't have the opportunity or the energy to be able to sit there and read. The only time I do is when I'm on vacation, when I'm on holiday, because I'm just fully relaxed at that point. But otherwise it's audiobooks all the way.
I love that. I've been listening to a couple, but it's hard. It's hard to choose.
No, podcasts are good.
Yeah, I do appreciate a podcast there.
I have recently been listening to Shoot Your Shot podcast.
Oh, what's that?
So that's with Lindsay Coulter and Timothy Musa.
I don't know them.
You don't know that? They're local. So Lindsay Coulter is a photographer. And Timothy Musa, he's a photographer and a videographer. Great people. I went to high school actually with Timothy Musa.
Ooh.
So obviously photography related, nothing to what, I do. But they talk a lot of like situational stuff that, we also deal with, being not only in the the customer service industry, but the wedding industry especially.
Yeah.
And they're pretty funny. I enjoy them as well. So that's
love.
a new little local love.
Cute. They're local as well.
Yeah, they're in Kitchener. Yeah. Shoot Your Shot podcast.
Shoot Your Shot. We should be their friends.
Yes, we should. So yeah, that's just basically that's our friendship. Oliver calls you Lenny. He's having trouble saying your name right now, so I just wanted to warn you about that. But
Lenny's perfect.
Oliver knows, like I show him little clips of us, and he knows who you are and stuff like that, and he adores you as well, and Mike thinks you're the best as well. So I consider myself very lucky and grateful to be your friend. And
I don't think you have to be grateful to be my friend.
I am very grateful. It's a very hard thing to, I do have, other friends.
No, I get it.
But to have somebody in your life that you can.
She's a loner.
That I can talk to about like business stuff.
Yeah.
I know that my other friends I could absolutely do, but just knowing that there's somebody, and also somebody that I can call upon to be like, hey, I really need help with this. Can you help me? And vice versa. If anything were to come up, I have somebody in my life that I can count on. And
Just saved my butt during my honeymoon. Saved my butt multiple times.
It was a pleasure saving your butt.
Saved my behind. My tiny behind.
Yeah. And then because of our friendship, it led to us being on a show.
Yeah,
in
it was
which,
great.
You were, why don't you share a little bit about that, and then I'll share my experience on the other end.
Cool. So the best part of having been on TV before is now when I get Instagram DMs, hi, we're casting a show. Do you want to be a part? I no longer think that somebody's attempting to murder me because it's proven to not be true in the past.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, the first time I got that message for Well of Bakers, I was like, what the heck kind of spam is this? And it was only after talking to a couple of friends of mine, and my other friend was like, I sent her a screenshot.
No, it's like a real thing. Yeah.
And she looked up the producer and was like, they've been a producer on TV for like 15 years. These are all the other shows that they produce. They do like Top Chef Canada, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, you think it's legit? She's like, you should at least respond. I'm like, oh, sure.
Didn't know if it was a scam.
I thought it was a scam. Like, respond.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did, and it was fine. It was great. And then I got this other message, and I think it would have been in September or October. We would have just gotten back from Alexandria, jumped right back into the deep end because wedding season was still not over yet. Thanksgiving was coming, and I was getting ready to go on my honeymoon right after Thanksgiving. And I was like, hey, are you interested? And I'm like, maybe. And they're like, you should apply. And I'm like, do I have to fill all the forms out because you're asking me to apply? And they're like, no, just do these ones. I'm like, oh, fine, whatever. And they're like, do you have a partner or do you need us to find you one? I'm like, oh, I don't need you to find me one. No, thank you. I have somebody in mind. And I was like, just be on this TV show with me.
I think your wording was, would you be interested in being on a TV show with me? And I'm like, what are you effing talking about? Of course I want to be on a show with you. This is like something I've always wanted to. I've been obsessed with watching these, cooking shows and competition shows. I'm like, I've always wanted to be one. And then to be on one with you, of course, this is... Are you silly?
I'm like, do you want to do it with me? Yeah. And you said yes. And then began
the very long,
I will say it was an incredibly long casting process. Folks in TV land they don't care about timelines for anybody else. We'll just say that. We'll say that. Can you have this done by December 22nd? Hello. Yeah. We both run bakeries. Yeah. It's Christmas. We're trying to get
Christmas
things done, and I'm like having to bake a spare cake, decorate a spare cake, drop it off to Jess. We
killed it though. That was a beautiful cake.
It was stunning. She was everything we could have ever wanted. Hilarity ensues. We're like, y'all are okay. All right. I have feelings, but whatever. It's fine.
It was a roller coaster of it's like, are we getting it? Yeah. Are we not getting it? Who cares? I don't even want it anymore, but I still want it.
Absolutely.
Do you think we're going to hear anything more? And like, at one point, like months went by. I feel like 2 or 3 months went by and we heard nothing.
Yeah.
Crickets.
But at this time, basically from the time that you said yes, I started thinking, is there more to this? Like, are Jess and I capable of doing more together? We went to the Produce Her sessions that was held by the Kitchener Public Library. But my friend Samantha, if you're a female female identifying person, and you're interested in anything in the arts, the Hefner Studios at the KPL location on Queen Street in downtown Kitchener hosts a Produce Her session every... I don't know, starting in the fall, I think every month or every other month. Tons of information available for you in a safe setting where you can just be free to create in the way that you want. And Jess and I went and we actually recorded the very first episode of our podcast. 90% of it had to get cut out because we were talking about the show and the contract and things like that. And you can't talk about that.
And we're not allowed to talk about that.
Not allowed to talk about that. That's secret information. Secret. But it was incredible. And it actually set us up for success because we knew the kinds of tools that we needed to do this podcast here. We're actually recording in my basement.
Yes.
But we knew that we needed some kind of audio interface, and we knew we needed the mics to sound like, because the equipment that they have there, thousands of dollars in
very
equipment,
fancy,
super fancy, beautifully soundproofed and whatever. Everything was just everything was everything. Okay. And we're so grateful to the KPL for allowing us that opportunity so that we can be set up for success on our own. In addition to that, we filmed the podcast. We recorded the first episode of our podcast, and we even started to think, if we don't get this show, because it was kind of touch and go.
Yes, it was.
If we don't get the show, would we be cool with it? Yes. What do our futures look like as
What's
business
next
owners?
then?
What's next for us? What are we going to do to set ourselves up for success? And I think that's where the dreaming kind of started. I still have dreams in the back of my mind that I have maybe shared with you in part and parcel, but not in totality. But I think that we're going to get to the place that we want to get to together.
Yes,
it's just going to be a matter of time.
Yeah.
But we won't have to worry. That's the best. I think that's the best thing, actually. I think there was actually a message that you sent to me, and I don't know if it made me sad, but it made me really think. Either we were on the phone or you messaged me and you said, I was asking Mike, like, why does Lenore want to be my friend?
Oh, right. Yes.
I don't understand what she's getting from it.
Yeah.
And it didn't make me like, I don't know. It made me feel a feeling that I couldn't really identify, because I'm like, how do you not know how cool you are? Like, this is not, I'm not just like, take. What can I get from Jessica? I was literally like, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I think sometimes I have this, like, what do you call it? Like imposter syndrome, you know, and you make me feel like I'm such a cool person.
Because you are such a cool person.
I know, but it was just like, I'm not. And at that time too, when I sent that message, like I was, again, like kind of like a low point in the business.
Yeah.
I was, had staff that just seemed to hate my guts. And, I was just like, why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm not a cool person, it's like, clearly, because these people are making me feel shitty. Customers weren't making me feel great at the time, which is not their job to, but just those kind of things.
Yeah.
I remember saying, like, what, like, there are other cool people, like, what is she like? And at that time too, I just felt like other people were taking from me, and I was just like, what does she think that I can do? Like, why does she think that I'm just like this cool person? Because I'm like, why did she, like, for her to ask me to do this, to be on this major show, to be with her and put so much trust in me? I didn't have the faith in myself. So I'm just like, why does she want that? Why does she want to be friends with me? This is so weird. And that's where I was coming from. And I remember you were like so shocked by my message. You're like, what the F are you talking about?
Literally.
But it was just like, I was like, I don't know. Like, and it was honestly my own insecurities coming into that.
Sure.
But I was just like, she's so cool. So it was just like, I know that she knows a lot of other cool people. So like, why me? So that's where that came from, is I didn't, and I feel like that's, you were really kind of always trying to like build me up and all those kind of stuff like that. And I'm like, is she like, what's her motive here? Why is she, it's just because I was just, at that point, I was so untrusting of people, and it was nothing that you had done. You have been nothing but supportive and kind and loving and all that kind of stuff. And so I was just so used to, like I said, people taking from me, and I was expecting you to do the same, and the fact that you weren't was very unsettling.
I apologize.
How dare you? But I mean, and again, like I said, like, nothing that you had done. You were just being a beautiful, wonderful person, and I just didn't know what to do with that information. Like, even like going on the trip with you, the sugar flower seminar. I mean, she's like, she's letting me sleep in the bed, and she's sleeping on the spare bed. What is going on?
I love a pull-out couch.
I know. Just like, there's no way that there can actually be this genuine, kind, amazing person in my life right now. And that's why I became so skeptical about it because I was just like, I don't know what to do with this.
I think the thing that you miss out on of like what you bring is you allow me to be authentically myself, right? I never, ever, ever have to pretend with you. One, because we're usually thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And two, because you're just like, yeah, you can feel that way. You can do that. That's no problem. Waking up on Sunday morning when we get to Alexandria and being like, cool, the closest grocery store, 15 minutes away. We're going to go in. We're going to get meat. We're going to get rice. We're going to get pasta. We're going to get snacks. We're going to get fruit. We're going to get orange juice. We're going to get milk. We're going to get cereal. We're going to get yogurt. We shopped like we were feeding a family of 4.
We had so much food. I remember
struggling back.
We had lunches provided to us by the seminar we were at.
So we didn't know what the lunches were going to be like. We were like, what are they going to be? What are they going to be like? Sandwiches? Sandwiches are not going to sustain us.
We thought there was like these full like Mexican. There was themed lunches.
Beautiful
every day.
Rice bowls. We had pizza one day. Such delicious food.
Yeah.
But Jess and I made preparation like we were going to be hungry hippos when we came home. But we're also very used to feeding 2 larger men who like food, and especially if it's tasty. And guess what, y'all? We can cook.
Yes, we can cook.
So we're like, 5 types of meat for $20. We should get sausages.
5
we should get
types
pork chops. We should get ground beef. We
couldn't decide on what ice cream we wanted to get, what ice cream we wanted to share. So I'm like, well, you get 1 whole pint of ice cream and I'll get also, I am lactose intolerant.
Yeah,
so
same.
I should not be consuming this much ice cream. Oh my goodness.
Everybody else in the class is telling us where they went for dinner, and we're like, we made pork chops on the barbecue and mashed potatoes, and we brought Brussels sprouts. We love Brussels sprouts. We can never make them at home because our husbands
hate them. They
don't
like them.
We made Brussels sprouts, and at the end of the day we had like eggs and whatever made left over.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, we're throwing it all into a pot. We're making a frittata.
That was freaking delicious.
And we brought frittata to the airport, which good thing because
we were stuck there for the longest time. There was nowhere to eat.
I wonder why we were stuck there for the longest time. We have discovered that Jessica is one type of traveler and I am the other. I would love to walk through security directly onto the plane.
I'm like 3 hours early.
Just like we have to be there 3 hours early.
I think it's my mom. It's my mom. Mom, I love you. But she always got that stuck into my head. Like, you have to arrive at the airport 3-4 hours early.
Oof.
Also, I think I was forgetting too. It's like we weren't in Kitchener anymore, having to get to Toronto, where it takes like now almost 2 hours to get to Toronto. So it's like you have to.
I was also late on the way going.
So
Jessica was also freaking out.
We came to pick you up, and you are not at your mom's house. You were not home.
I was not home. I was
we just hung out with your mom, and it was great.
Yeah.
No, like that's just the type of people that we are. It's like we love food, and we love hanging out, and love talking about food, and
we want to eat well, never want to be hungry. I'm never gonna be like, we're in an Airbnb, we should just like, I don't know, eat ramen. You know what, there would be some days I'd be happy to eat ramen, but I also really enjoyed the fact that there was a barbecue on the rooftop, and we used it to make pork chops and mashed potatoes and gravy and Brussels sprouts, and we ate like queens.
We did.
It was great. Everybody else is like, oh yeah, I went here for dinner. We're like, we actually have a fridge full of food and cupboards full of.
We got eggs. We got cheese. We got bagels,
bread, oranges. Yeah, man. Anyway. So having somebody not judge me in that situation, and as extroverted as we appeared in that class, it was only because we were together.
Yes.
Because when they're like, yeah, what do you do when you go back to the apartment? We're like, well, it's cold inside because there's AC and it's hot outside. Yep. So we don't go outside after we come inside. We actually come inside and we put on PJs.
Yeah, immediately.
And we sit in front of a computer and we answer emails or work. Be on Instagram, and the TV is on in the background, and then as the sun is setting behind us, nobody's gotten up to turn on any lights, and the apartment gets dark. We say, should we make dinner?
Oh yeah, then we make dinner.
Should we make dinner? We make dinner. We watch TV. No computers this time, just food and the TV, and then we go to bed. And it was great.
Loved it.
We didn't have to do anything. It wasn't like, we have to go tonight for the town and blah blah blah. Nope. We were just content to do whatever we wanted.
There was no pressure. I feel like, should we go out and see the town and like go to these restaurants? It's like, why, when we can make great food here?
We make delicious food.
Yeah.
And we already bought it all. So
can't waste it.
We had no choice.
Don't waste food.
We had no choice. And it actually set us up for success on the show.
It did. It did.
Because we were in apartment style hotel.
Yeah.
In Toronto, which meant we had access to incredible food, and we did go out and we ate.
We did.
Amazing
places. Yes.
And it was so fantastic. We got Indian food catered in that one time, and you and James made the poor choice of getting butter chicken.
Yes, we did.
And my lamb korma was bomb.
It was. It smelled so good.
It was bomb. You're like, oh, butter chicken. It's fine though. It's fine. But we cooked. We made meals for ourselves in the kitchen. We went to the grocery store and we would hang out and we relax in the same way. We had cross stitch. You were doing embroidery as well.
Yes.
And we had books to read and we played Scrabble and we were like, oh, you guys are like passing your time like little old ladies. Like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We take that as a compliment.
It's very kind of you to say. We're just, relaxed and casual. But like, I think that's the reason why we work so well as friends. We don't, what do you want to do? Like not a lot. If that's okay with you. I'm happy to like not do a lot. We went and saw a musical. Like
we did. Yeah, we did things. We're not like, hermits where we just have our bowls of food and our blankets and pillows and just not move.
Although helpful. Just made me watch a scary movie.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
I didn't like it.
We didn't finish watching it though because I think it was too scary.
So we stopped.
And I don't like scary movies either. I did not think it was going to be scary.
We saw princesses in gowns and who knew they got chomped up by a dragon.
I thought it was going to be a cute little.
Oof, when the dragon killed her dad and like
that was too much. Yeah.
I think that's actually where we
like let's instead watch a detective.
What was it?
Crime,
like murders in New York or something like that.
Yeah, it was done by oh my god, who's the guy that does not Law and Order? Something Bruckheimer or whatever. So same producer, director, whatever.
Yeah.
That does Law and Order. He also did like one that kind of would focus on like certain areas. Series. Yeah, in New York, and we were watching that instead, which was a lot more calming than watching
100%. Also
dragons.
Dark in a hotel. Yes. We're away from home and our families. Yes. We're like sleeping alone in this hotel. Nobody knows we're here. It's fine. It's totally fine. No, but I love that we can just be ourselves.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Yes.
Kind of refreshing.
Yes.
We can be vulnerable and we're hardly ever cocky about anything because for some reason we don't believe in ourselves, but everybody else does, which is nice. But in like moments of weakness, moments of joy, moments of celebration, moments of commiseration, blah, 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 to have somebody to run to is so rare,
yes,
but also so lovely. And so, now we're capturing all of that, putting it into a little box, putting it in your ear holes. Not the box, just the sounds from the box. Putting it in your ear hole so you can have a little preview of our friendship.
Yeah. And it's just, setting the foundation for future stories and things that we're going to tell you. So if you have, stuck around still for all this part, it is going to come full round, because what we don't want to do is, start sharing other stories and telling us, like, what are they?
You do that?
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah. And then wind up having to, go back in time and things like that. So,
now you know how we became friends.
And if you are, thinking of starting your own business, it's so important to make sure that you find like-minded people and build your community there to make sure that you have somebody that you can talk to that isn't just like a family member or a friend, like somebody that is going through the same things that you are dealing with, that you can really feel like you can confide in honestly without having to pretend that you're feeling a certain way that you're not.
The scariest thing about having family and friends who believe in you is that they will tell you, but you're so incredible. Yeah. This is everything you ever wanted. We were just talking about this earlier today. This is your dream. No, it's not. This iteration, what I'm going through right now is not my dream. Yep. It's actually my nightmare. But you said you wanted to run a business. But there are facets. And this facet that I'm experiencing right now is not it. Yeah. It's not on. And I need to do whatever I need to do to get away from this particular behavior, because it is not serving me. And like, family and friends, they see how much you sacrifice, they see how hard you work, and they're like, in their minds, they're like, oh my gosh, but you can't give up. You can't stop. Yeah. This would all be for naught. No, it wouldn't have been for naught. I would have gotten a great experience out of it, something that I could use and further my life in some way, shape, or form. But if I'm not thriving, You have to let me do whatever I need to do in order to thrive. Hard to find that in family, in friends, in partners.
As much as we love them.
Yeah. As understanding as James and Mike are for us, and as loving, and they are also cheerleaders. And they will say, do whatever you want, but you've sacrificed, and they get it because they're on the other side of that sacrifice.
They're seeing it all too. Yeah.
Every time we say no to them so that we can say yes to the business, they feel that, and so they don't want this thing that you've worked so hard for, given up so much for, to go by the wayside or change in any way, shape, or form that they think that will bring you less success. But I think the definition of success is a little different depending on whether or not you're the person actioning it or you're just the person viewing it from the outside. And that's really hard to say out loud, but also really important to say out loud too.
100%.
So yeah, our goal for this is really just to chat about what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, we'll talk a lot about the wedding space, but I have lots of experience coaching folks in other businesses and other spheres, and the journey of an entrepreneur is essentially the same no matter the industry. It's isolating, and you toil alone. There is nobody that's coming to save you, ever. If you don't do something today, guess who's doing it tomorrow? You. It's still you. If you don't do something tomorrow and you push it off to the next day, guess what? It's still you. It's still you. And if you're the person that's like, well, you should just hire somebody. Oh.
We'll get into that as well.
But yeah, now you know how Jess and I became friends. And let's see, after Crime Scene Kitchen, whether or not we are still friends.
Yes. But if you have any questions or you have any comments, please leave them for us, because we will eventually get into answering, audience questions and things like that. So it can be anything related to what we've talked about or any of your own personal things that you're dealing with. We would love to hear from you, and we can kind of chat about that as well in little comment corner.
And you can always prompt us as well. Like, tell us a story about a time where you dropped a cake on the floor. We have those stories.
We have so many stories. So we want to hear from you what you want to hear from us.
You can comment on our Instagram page. You can comment on our Facebook page. You can send us an email, bakesinaboxpod@gmail.com.
Perfect.
We don't have a phone number. Please don't call us.
No, please don't call us. You are more than welcome to leave voice notes. You can do that. You can send us a little video message. That is fine. In our DMs. Absolutely do that. But we're not about to open any of our phone lines.
Please don't.
Phone lines are closed.
Closed. DMs are open.
Yes.
Which is the opposite of what it is for my businesses. Don't DM me on any of my business accounts. I will leave you on red. I won't feel bad about it either. So. But not for the podcast. For the podcast, our DMs are open because we like you guys. And that's the only way that you can get to both of us at one time.
Exactly.
Which makes sense. That's it.
That's all.
All right, that's it. Until our next episode, we're off to bake our dreams into reality. Success is just the icing on the cake.
Have an amazing day, you guys. Bye.
I love it. Stop. Thanks for listening to this episode of Bakes in a Box.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Have any questions or want us to talk about a specific topic, baking, business, or life? Send us an email at bakesinaboxpod@gmail.com.
Find these details and more in today's show notes.